Hello, welcome to the series of demo video for Azure Immersion Workshop for infrastructure migration, and this video will demonstrate all scenarios that's mentioned on the workshop and will help you to better understand, even after the workshop, the process of the migrations, the infrastructure. And this series will contains 3 videos. First one, it's lab 1, discover and assess on-premise environment. Second lab and second video will be migrate the application database, and third one, the final, migrate the application and web tiers using Azure Migrate. All of these videos, all linked to these videos, you will find down on the description of the video or on the notification inside the video. So welcome to look each of this video, and the first one that you are looking right now will be about the solution architecture, what exactly we are migrating and how we are planning to migrate this stuff. After that, we will talk about Azure Migrate project and how to set up Azure Migrate project, how it works. After that, we will deploy Azure Migrate Appliance to do exactly the discovery and assessment of the infrastructure on premise. Yeah, it will be on premise part of migration, and we will also configure dependency agents and look on the dependency between machine to better understand what we have to migrate, what not, and how it will work. And yes, so here I'm on the virtual machine that contains required on-premise infrastructure that will be migrated. As you can see, there is 4 virtual machines, and one special, it's exactly the Azure Migrate appliance that we will configure first, and 3 tiers of solution: WAF, web application firewall based on Ubuntu, 2 web servers, web 1 and web 2 based on the Windows, and 1 SQL server. After that, so the plan of the migration looks like we will migrate the SQL server like a Azure SQL database. So we will convert this IaaS solution to the PaaS solution to work more effectively and more faster. We will migrate, we will do the assessment, discovery, and discovery of dependencies. And we will migrate these 3 virtual machines if it's possible, like 3 different virtual machines in Azure. And after that, to provide better WAF, we will use also Azure Application Gateway instead of virtual machine here. So all of this will be covered by these 3 labs. And let's start with the first one. And to do this, we will need Azure Portal and log into this portal with our demo credentials. Just a second. Okay. And the second one, the password here. Sign in. Yes, save, just to not interrupt our demo and type any passwords. So what we have here, at first we have a bunch of users groups that will help us to work with. At first we have exactly a Smart Hotel RG resource group, where you can see already prepared options for the infrastructure. At first we have here deployed VNet, we have already deployed SQL Server and SQL Database, Azure SQL Database, we have Bastion, and we have WAF application gateway that allow us to work with this solution. Also, we have some intermediate resource groups that will contains additional infrastructure like Azure Migrate RG. We will create all needed objects here to work with it, to control the situation, etc., etc. And let's start to do the first job and first task. It's exactly the configuring the migration Azure Migrate project. If we type here on top on the search line, you will find the Azure Migrate Center or Azure Migrate project itself that allow you to do a lot of operations that's again discussed more detailed in workshop presentation, but for now we have to go with the project. We are planning to do the migration of the server database, etc. And as you can see here, we already have one project that's pre-built, pre-configured, etc. And we can reuse it, or if we need, we can create the new one in our subscription in required resource group. By the way, Azure Migrate projects are hidden objects, so if you want to see it, you have to go to the resource group and turn off. Let's check this one. You have to go to the resource group and tick this hide objects. As you can see, there is a migrate project that we will use, and if you need to delete it, exactly, you have to do this one and delete the project. Anyway, for first 30 days, Migrate project is free for to use for you. Don't worry, you don't need to pay. This time, if you are doing the migration of the virtual machine like EAS, you will need to pay only for the storages and utilization of the storages, so like, because you will replicate your data to the Azure storage from the virtual machine like a virtual disks. So let's go back to the Azure Migrate, go to the data center, and as you can see, we are ready to work with it. Nothing special to create, etc. Here you can see that you have Azure Migrate. You have here Azure Migrate server migration. So this is the two options. First one is exactly assessment tools. This one is migration tool. And it will help you and allow you to do the discovery, assessment, and migration. Let's start with the first one. It's exactly the discover. We are going to the discover option, and here you can use the appliance. Again, appliance is a virtual machine that's placed inside your on-premise network and has the access to the different networks, to the different machines, and provide information to Azure Migrate project about the virtual machines, etc., etc. If it's not possible to use this kind of appliance, I will talk later how to configure this appliance. If it's not possible, you can use CSV file. The template of the CSV file you can download here, and after that fill manually or by other tool on premise that you have, for example, list of your virtual machine, just needed virtual machines, etc. And after that, upload your result file with the virtual machines that's required to migrate. We will go with the appliance. Appliance is a virtual machine again, and you can use a few different scenarios here. First one, you can use the VMware vSphere. So this appliance will be in VMware format of the virtual machine, and you will be able to download it and put this virtual disk to the to your VMware environment and work with it. Or second one, it's exactly the Hyper-V. So you can use the Hyper-V and work with the Hyper-V. And third one, it's physical, etc., etc., or another configuration virtual appliance that will provide you not like image of the virtual machine, but just a zip file with required scripts configuration to do the configuration of the appliance manually. Not manually, semi-automatically, let's say. And let's back to the virtual appliance. And here we have to put additional information about our migration as far as we have some smart hotel project. Let's name it smart hotel application, and we need to generate the key. What is this key? This key is allow you to explain appliance that it should be connected here on this project. So it's just like authentication, application authentication key that's announced that machine with this key on premise connected to this Azure Migrate project. In parallel, you can download VHD file if it's required, or if you have just empty machine, you can download the same zip file and run it on the Windows machine to have this virtual appliance for discovery and assessment. After that, what we have to do, we have to go to our appliance. So as I mentioned before, our appliance is already configured and already started, and I just need to connect to it and go inside this virtual machine and type this one, the password. The next steps are we are inside predefined appliance that already was downloaded from Azure, from this wizard. And right now we need to configure it. We run the appliance configuration wizard inside appliance right now. And this wizard runs a lot of checks, tests, etc., etc. Before start. As you can see, it's trying to connect directly to some web host. Yeah, appliance, it's a web service. To connect to manage appliance, it uses a web service. And for now, we have to agree. It check, as you can see, the connectivity, it checks the synchronization, and after that it starts to do the update checking. You can skip it, or you can upgrade the machine. Just do not wait it. Upgrade the machine before, update the machine before running this configuration wizard for appliance. Just a second. As you can see, it's going long. It will take a lot of time, like 3, 5, 10 minutes. After that, you just agree that you can continue without the appliance, without the updates, and put configured, already provided migration project key. Yeah, this one. Just refresh. And wait. And after that, you need to take this key, this one. This key, it's not needed to have it after that, because it's just one-time connection and one-time configuration. You can add additional if you need additional appliance or configure appliance with additional passwords, parameters to scan, etc., etc. So don't worry. For example, if you have 2, 3, 5 different configuration, I mean subnets, etc., you can put the appliance on the different networks and use it. And here, interesting. Just a second, let's rerun it. Strange. Let's do additional troubleshooting. Never saw this issue before. Just a second. Okay, fix it after the reboot. It looks like a issue until installing the updates, and I'm putting here the connection string and trying to log in with required code. It will open me the page to log in, and I have to provide the code, and I have to provide the same credentials that I'm using for solution itself, or Azure subscription, where I have my Azure Migrate project. I'm logging on here. So for now it's easy. Continue. Right now you can close the window and system will try to connect to the Azure and register the solution. After that, what we have to do, we have to provide 3 additional options. First of all, it's credentials. We can add as many credentials as we need for the different connections, for the domain, local machines, etc., that will be used to connect to the infrastructure. For example, Hyper-V hosts. So this appliance will use the Hyper-V host and credentials for the Hyper-V host. You see Hyper-V host or cluster here, to be sure that we are able to work with the Hyper-V and take the data from the Hyper-V, etc. So let's type here something like host login, demo user, and demo password. Save. So we have user. Right now we can add additional discovery sources. So the name of the virtual machines that we need, virtual hosts that we need to check, like for example single item or multiply item or even KSV, that we are using here. The name of our smart host is this one, and credentials that we will use to connect to this host. These credentials we created on the previous step. But again, this is just information for the appliance itself. But you have to have these credentials exactly with right login and name on the host or on the Hyper-V scale. And the last one, what we need to do, yes, we need to go and validate. So as you can see, we are able to do all this stuff now. Credentials were validated and we can work with it. If you want to define the dependency analysis and you have the system for dependency analysis, you can add additional credentials for the domain, Windows, etc., to connect to the some system of the dependency. And after that, right now we are able to do the start. Not able. We are able to, let's do this. We don't need this one. We are able to do the start discovery. What's going on right now? Right now, Appliance is trying to connect to the Hyper-V host to take the information, and same time it's trying to configure the connection and send the data to the Azure Migrate to have this information inside Azure Migrate solution. So we just need to wait until this process will be done, and we just need to wait again. So you can refresh the screen, or you can switch back to the Azure Migrate and wait until we will have here information about discovered objects, or about at least about Appliance. We can take this, you see. Okay, so right now it's refreshed. You can see that one appliance already added to the project, but still have no information about the servers, still have no information about the virtual machines, etc., etc. So we just registered appliance for the project, but we need to wait. Maybe for the small environment and fast environment, you will see it in 3, 5, 10 minutes. In the huge environment, it could take, discovered servers, etc., it could take up to 1 day. I did this some project with 5,000 virtual machines on the 700 hosts, and it takes me 3 days to get at least the discovered servers, but it was VMware, whatever. We need to wait, and I will pause my recording and we'll be back after it will be. Okay, what we have here for now, so we have already updated discovery. We have 4 Windows machines, we have 1 unknown machine, and we have totally 5 machines. We can look on it, we can check the information, what's going on, what is it, IP addresses, etc., etc. Same time, what we can do also, we can go to the exactly assessment. So what assessment we need? We need to do the assessment for Azure virtual machines. So we are planning to migrate to the Azure virtual machines, or we want to have the assessment for Azure VMware solutions when Azure emulates the VMware infrastructure inside. We need, again, Azure VM, and here we can create the assessment. Which type of assessment we can use? Again, discover it from the Azure Migrate or imported servers from CSV file. Here we also can change the type of assessment to better understand what's going on, which, for example, target we need to use. For example, we want to have West Europe, we want to have 1 year. We want to have the virtual machines that's type of the virtual machines that will be used. For example, we want to have DV3 series. DV2. Here. Also, you can assign some additional parameters. At first, we can use the performance-based or as on-premise. So performance-based means that the system will, Azure Migrate project will do the analysis of the real utilization based on the 1 day, 1 week, 1 month. Yeah, so 1 month is for free for you. For example, for 1 day with the calculation of the utilization, and what is the comfort factor? It's how are you paying to have buffer for the optimization of the performance. For example, not 1 but 1.2. It means we will add to the machines 20% to be more relaxed, right? And the same time, are you planning to use the Windows license so you have it or not? If yes, the one price. If no, you have to pay for the Windows license inside the virtual machine in Azure. But we have the assumptions that we are moving the virtual machines from on-premise that already have these licenses. We will just move it. The currency, for example, from United States to the Euro, ready. And save. And the next one will be exactly the name of the smart host assessment. We need to create the group. This group will contain required virtual machines, because we can check, for example, just a few virtual machines. We don't need to do the assessment, for example, for the SQL Server and for the Migrate appliance, because SQL Server will be moved like a path. Azure Migrate appliance will be moved, will not move it. It's just a tool that we are using right now. So we need just 3 virtual machines: Ubuntu, Smart Hotel, and Smart Hotel 2. And ready. System will create required assessment. So this assessment is exactly the calculation. Just a second, we need to wait until it will be computed. You see, it's saying that is being computed but still not finished. We will see the assessment here to better again understand what's going on. Just a second. Let's do the refresh. Waiting for OK. It was refreshed, and here you can see this assessment, total assessment 1, assessment for Azure virtual machines 1. So let's go to the total assessments, and what we can see here our assessment, required assessment. By clicking on it, we can see the number of the machines 3, the total number of the machines that's ready to migrate 2, 1 is with some conditions. Planned monthly cost, it will be like this one, storage and virtual machines. But do not forget that it's not about the traffic, operations, etc. So you will pay more. It's just 3 machines. As far as we are planning to use, for example, Azure Application Gateway, we have to pay for the Azure Application Gateway. As far as we are planning to publish these machines to the internet, we will pay for the traffic, outbound traffic, egress traffic from this website to the client, and it's additional cost on top of this sum. But anyway, we can look on the assessments, we can look what's going on here and how to avoid these errors, how to mitigate these errors by the Microsoft tools. We can go to the required tools and documentation, what we can do, etc. Plus we can look on the cost details, how much it will cost for us. For now, as you can see, it's trying to get the same size because we are defining the DV3 series, and because the virtual machines itself quite small, it's proposed us to have D2 minimal size for the virtual machines and the price per month. Same time, we can play with the different assessments and create additional assessments based on our expectation and based on some different parameters. For example, again, let's go back to the West Europe and type of the storage. Let's say that I'm expecting the premium managed disk to have higher performance. We are not planning to have the reserved instances. It will be performance based, and we are looking for any sizes with comfort factor, for example 1, and we have no license. We are planning to go with this. Plus, I want to say that some virtual machines will work not 24 hours but 20 hours, maybe. Let's say maybe one of the machines from the web tier will be stopped till the night, and it will give us some buffer here. So you can play with all of these parameters here. And again, new assessment type, let's do like this. Oops, sorry. And we will use the same group to do the assessment, because we already created this group and add required machines. We just need to create new assessment with the different parameters. And let's do the assessment and see what's going on here. Just again, successfully created. Let's go back to the assessment. Oh, sorry, migrate. We still have here one assessment. Why we need this assessment on the technical perspective? On the assessment and discovery, we can get the price, we can get information about the machines. Is it possible or not possible to migrate these machines, etc. What steps we have to do before the migration based on this information. But same time, this information from the assessment will be used on the next step, third step, on the third video, when we are doing exactly the migration, because we need to have this list of the machines, size of the machines, etc. Let's go back to the assessment. So we have the second assessment here. As you can see, nothing changed there because machines is same, but the price for the virtual machines, because you are not using the hybrid benefits, it's quite higher because the license per month, and storage price will be also higher because we manually put the 40 premium storage that give us 44 euros, dollars, sorry, it's dollars. I forgot to switch it. But anyway, you got the idea, you got the points, and you can go and look, for example. You see, it's choose the different sizes. So it's use the F2S, not D3, DV3 series to work on it. So you can play with this stuff as much as you want to better understand how it works in real world. The second part is exactly the part of the dependency analysis, to understand what's going on inside the dependencies, which machines we need to use, how we need to use these machines, etc., etc. So there is the two main steps. First of all, we need to configure our virtual machines to have agent inside the machine, dependency agent, that will give us information what's going on inside the on-premise machine, virtual machine, what connections, where it's connected, what services, etc., etc., and build the dependencies diagram for you. And the second one, run real-world scenarios. Maybe it could be different scenarios. It's really important to work with the application owner to better understand what scenarios could be done. For example, for for the web server, it could be just like we open web server. But maybe for some bigger solution, some dependencies are not clear, and you need to wait, for example, for reporting time, for the printing time, etc., etc. So do not hurry up and say, okay, I have the dependencies directly after I deploy the agent. No, it's wrong. So agent, and wait few days or even more, ask the owners to do all operations on the application to have the dependence. Sometimes again, so like you will find absolutely crazy dependencies between it. But anyway, let's go to the dependencies, and at the first step we have to configure log analytics. Azure log analytics, there is a quite outdated the page where log analytics name it like OMS, operation management service space, but it's right now exactly the log analytics workspace, and we have one here. No, I thought we have one, but anyway, let's create the new one, and we need to choose the location where it will be placed. So it should be placed near your virtual machines, near on-premise location, where it will be easier to send the data again. So agents will connect from on-premise to Azure to this log analytics workspace and work with it. It's how it works, right? Let's do the configure, and the system will deploy you log analytics workspace. We will back after, and after that we will need these commands. Copy link, to copy commands and execute the deployment. For example, this one for the log analytics for Windows, this one is for Linux. Sometimes it happens because the lab, let's see, 692028. So it will be the agent for the monitoring, plus we need to have inside the virtual machines also dependency agent. I think it will be dependency agent Linux. But anyway, Linux, yes. Plus, to connect these agents to the infrastructure, we have to do next one. We need ID and we need again the key. The same key like we used, mostly the same, to connect Appliance to the Migrate project. So we have all our data. What we need to do after, we need to connect to each machine and do the information. Same time, you can close this one, and if you need to open again and look on it, you have to look for the log analytics workspace. Here, this one. It's why I thought we have one. This one. And the same parameters, the same options you will find on the agent management. Agent management will be required also because you will check is it connected or still not connected to the log analytics workspace. So like you can check here, you see 0 Windows machines, 0 Linux machines. So let's connect to each machine one by one to have this information and install required agents. Yes. We need to run any browser because it's Windows 2012. We need to run Internet Explorer. And start our command link here, sorry. This one. Go. Run. After that, we will need this one. Next, next, next. So we are planning to connect to the log analytics, OMS, before. And the workspace ID will be this one, and key will be this one. Oops, sorry. And it will be Azure Commercial. If you need to configure some HTTP proxy, etc., please go there. And I don't want to use Microsoft Update just to speed up installation. In real life, please use the updates, etc., etc. And the first machine mostly will be ready, but after that we have to install the dependency agent. Let's go to the second machine until installation is going there. On the first machine, okay. Let's take one and paste the same URL. Go. Run. Let's go back to the first one. It's finished. And we need to do the dependency agent deployment for the first machine. run. This one is quite small and quite fast, and it does not use any, let's say, configuration parameters. And of course, if you need to do this automatically on the bunch of the machines, you can use this in command prompt. So it's absolutely possible. Let's see, for the agent on the second machine, connect to OMS, and we need to provide the same keys here. And the second one, we need to provide the same, ID and same key. Next, install. So mostly it works. And for the third machine, we don't need to connect to it. It will be enough to use just a command prompt. Let's start the command prompt. It's not necessary to run with administrator, whatever. SSH demo user, and it's internal IP address inside Linux machine inside the inside the on-premise network, and here password. Yeah, we are here, and the first one is, and right now we need to, right now we need to run the installation. To run the installation, we have to do the command prompt. This one is the command prompt that should contain ID and key. Here will be key, this one, and here will be ID. Copy and paste. So yes. We need to restart the services. Just do not ask it, just do it automatically. Again, you can use the additional parameters on the command prompt to install automatically all the stuff. After that, we have to do the upgrade for the Ubuntu machine and install exactly dependency agent. So let's go here. Second command will do the configuration for the dependencies. It is updated. Go. And the last one, we just will download it and execute it. If you have some issue, you can find all information about this one here. By the way, we have to install the second. This one is finished, and we need to install dependency agent on the second machine. run. Oops, run. I see. Okay. Say it's run. Finish. How to be sure that it's already done? At first, you can see all parameters here. Just go somewhere and go back. And you will see that 2 machines it's already connected and 0 Linux machines still not connected. All commands you can find here, you see. So don't worry, it's easiest way to do the configuration. Same time, you can go to the logs and look for the logs for the heartbeat, just to understand that we have something inside. Heartbeat for the virtual machines. Nothing also, just a heartbeat. And you can see that we can see smart hotel, 1 smart hotel, 2nd, web Ubuntu. All of this stuff, it's already connected and sends the data. We just need to wait until log analytics will be refreshed a little bit. But it's already sending the data again. So like, same time on the Azure Migrate project, we can look for our solution. We can look for the smart hotel, and we will see that here we have already installed objects, agents, right? And for the last one, we are still waiting to send some data. Hope it was correct. Looks like nothing wrong on the commands. Configuration is okay. Yes, 6637. Good. Let's do refresh. Now, let's do this way. Group. Don't worry, you can easily refresh the machines. Still required the agent. Linux. Yeah, Linux is here. Logs. Close. Log management. Heartbeats. Run. So we are receiving the data. So it means works. We are receiving, just a second, insights. Still receiving the heartbeat, not exactly the metrics. And refresh, run. Okay, so installed. Right now we can view the dependencies, and the dependencies will looks like here. You see we have the smart agent. Here we can see which processes connect to each other. Sorry. We can see the clients. It's my client connected to SSHD, from my AP to this AP to different machines, etc., etc. But it's easiest way. But it's not clear. We can't see, for example, dependencies between Ubuntu and these machines. Just you can see that it's like there's some connections going to the different ports outside the infrastructure. So it's, let's say, a little bit wrong. But same time we can start and go to the IP address 8. Ta-dam! This one is our website, You can see the booking, etc., some operations, whatever. But most important part we will see here after a few minutes, when these machines will connect and send data to some smart hotel web hosts. You see, for now there is just outbound connectivities, right? Nothing special to work on it. After a few minutes it will be refreshed, because it's not like a real-time monitoring, but it will be refreshed, and we will see not only one port. For now we connected only to SSHD, right? But after that, wait. As I mentioned, it's really accurate process. It should be accurate process when you look on the infrastructure and doing all required steps. Let's make the pause and return after the data. Okay, it was refreshed. As you can see, we have one client that's connected to the processes, and these clients connected to Nginx and SSHD. And after that we can see that this request is going to the different web servers, redirected and sent it to the different infrastructure. Oops, sorry. Plus you can see that this smart hotel application is working with the Nginx, and here the data sent to the, which one? IS, I think. Let's see. System. Okay, and after that request was sent to the different machines and also to the SQL server. We have to not load the SQL server. Plus here, really important information about IP addresses inside infrastructure that's really used by the solution. So all of these steps should be recorded and used after that till the migration, to better understand why we can't see anything with the SQL server, because we just do not install anything. Just like we know that this smart hotel web 2 machine connects to the SQL servers. That's all. It's enough. We know we are planning to migrate the SQL server, know from where this connection is going, and we are fine and okay. So back to the beginning. It's this lab is done, and you can see the final dependency visualization, as it's expected. It was expected. And also we did the assessment. We configured Azure Migrate appliance connected to the Azure Migrate project, and we are ready for the second lab. It will be database migration by database migration service. Let's see it. Be in touch. And again, if you are looking for the first lab, please look to the description of this video or to the notification inside video or videos notification at the end of the video right now to see another links on the solution or on the lab, next lab. See you soon.